Testing, can everyone hear me clearly? Okay, good stuff. Right, nice to see you guys tune in nice and early. Right, right, we got Fred here, got Mando, we got a Boschjan, right? We got the 444 number, we got Marcel Diaz. Thanks for tuning in nice and early today, right, guys? Depending on where you are, you're either tuning in at night, right? Is it 8 p.m. in London? I think it's 8 p.m. in London, right? The market is just going to open in about an hour, all right? So, good stuff. Wait, it's an hour? Yeah, probably an hour, so or 1 or 2 hours time, right? So good stuff, right? Got a lot to look at this week. A lot of it, I think the first 2 days will be kind of slow, right? Yeah, there's bank holidays for a couple of countries. First 2 days will be kind of slow, but it starts to pick up on Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. Last week we had pretty crazy week, yeah. But yeah, it's so I think we got quite a number of calls right last week too. Christy, nice to see you, right? Or from Romania, right? We got okay, Ireland is 9 p.m. Romania, hi. Alex, Mando, yes, your name is too familiar, right? Just let me turn on my fan. I remember everyone that comes in. Hey Ahmad, nice to see you. Hey Norbert, nice to see you tune in too. Right. But yeah, thank you very much. Right. Yeah, today's session will be a fun session, right? We might focus a little bit more on technicals because there isn't much to look at from the fundamentals. I mean, there is a little bit of news event on Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, but the first 2 days are kind of slow, right? Oh, Central Africa, right? Who can guess what time it is here and from where I am? Yeah, can anyone guess what time it is from where I am? Revenge trading, eh? Oh, 5 p.m. from Brazil. Thanks for tuning in. All right. Good timing too. Right, Mando, if you've been revenge trading a bit too much, I do have a trading psychology I think webinar that I did here previously. A good approach that I have is that if you have 3 consecutive losing trades, it's time to stop. All right, but also more than that, right? When it comes to how to avoid revenge trading, right? What I realized, if I may share a little bit on this part, right? I mean, we all revenge trade at one point in time or another, right? Revenge trading occurs when we leave our we let emotions, right? We let emotions come in to make the decisions for us. Okay, so usually you have a trade that is right. No one begins revenge trading at the start of a day. If you think about it, right? No one starts the day thinking, I'm going to start revenge trading right now. Right? I'm going to start revenge trading on my first trade. Right? No one begins the day doing that. Revenge trading only comes in usually when you leave opportunities for emotions to come in. Right? So for example, right, a good example is when you set a trade, but you have your entry, your stop loss, your take profit, but maybe you're missing out your break even, you're missing out your plan A, plan B, you're missing out your idea and validation, you're missing out your partial profits. And the moment one of those things don't play out in your favor, you get to get a little bit worked up, right? You're like, oh man, I should have closed off my partial profit there. I should have moved my stop loss to break even, right? I should have closed off my trade there, right? So it always happens when you start second guessing yourself, right? Let emotions start to creep in, you let doubt start to creep in, right? I'm sure many of us have the experience, right? We let the trade just work itself out. We don't do anything. We just let the trade work itself out, and most of the time, it actually works out well, right? The strategy works out in its according to how we planned it, right? Correct me if I'm wrong, right? But if you have encountered this yourself, let me know. Everyone in the chat session, let everyone know, right? But yeah, it's that kind of case where usually if you let the trade work itself out, it tends to work out well. But once you start to dabble in it, right? Once you start to once your emotions come in and you start to play around with the levels, that's where things get messy. All right, and the trick to solving that is, I think I have this session called it's called Advanced Trade Management. You need to determine your entry, stop loss, take profit, your partial profit, your break even, your ideal and validation. You need to determine all of that. All right, that way you will leave nothing. You basically can completely step away from your trade and let it work itself out without being worried whether you need to jump in to manage it. All right, remember, a trade is not just your entry, stop loss, and take profit. There's everything that goes in between which you need to decide in a trading strategy. Okay, now all right, we got Ahmad from Pakistan, right? Aubrey, nice to see you here, from Zambia. We got Bor, Yamilu, nice to see you again here. It's got SVJ, right? All right, let's have a great trading week. Let's begin today's live pre-market live analysis, right? Same time, same place every week. We cover what's going to happen in the market for the rest of the week. Usual hit rate, I dare say, about 70%, sometimes less, sometimes more. What we do, right? Every single session is recorded, so there's no two way about it, right? You can watch all the previous sessions that we did, right? Every single call, every single forecast, right? Analysis that we did, right? Would be what's the word for it? Would be the term I want to use, right? Every single analysis that we use would be recorded, all right? I think I need to check something, right? I just need to check something to ensure that we are using the correct disclaimers, all right? Okay, but anyway, our pre-market live analysis, same time, same week, every week, right? We'll be looking at the market's fundamentals and technicals, right? We have it all for you, okay? Now, just give me a quick second. Just give me a quick second here while I actually need to minimize this a bit, all right? Just give me a quick second, right? So I do want to point you guys to here, if you can, right? I'm going to send it to you guys over here so that we can go through this together in today's session. Pre-market, is this the one? No, it's this live streaming over here, right? Go check it out, right, guys? Go check it out. I think it's important. Where is the keynote? Is this my keynote? So I need to find my keynote. Okay, just give me a second, right? I need to ensure that we are using correct disclaimer. Okay. Sorry, yeah, this is the disclaimer, the updated disclaimer that we have for you guys. Remember, everything in this webinar is educational in nature, so nothing should be construed as investment or trading advice. So please do your own due diligence before you guys trade. All right, now let's begin today's session. Right, we got opinions on dollar, yen, Aussie dollar. Yes, I do. All right, yes, I do. Let's begin today's session, right? The agenda for today, right, is that we usually cover the key news events, followed, right, by the analysis on some majors. I'll go through the main ones, right, and then we look at some custom requests. Of course, what I like to do is review our previous analysis, right? If you did well, what we did well, what we didn't do well, right? So I'm always accountable to you guys. There's no running away from it, right? If I sometimes I make the forecasts are really good. Sometimes it's just a little bit off, right? But we never had a time where everything was completely off, right? We've been doing this for years, right? And you guys can review every single analysis that I did. All right. So for those of you guys who are here for the first time, right, introducing your host for today. This is me, right, Desmond Leong, right? Much younger and more vibrant looking version of myself, right? Ever since I became a dad, right? Things start to put on weight, start to get a little bit more tired, right? But I'm still here, right? So I run the award-winning research firm Everest Fortune Group, also the Forex Army, finalists of 2019, 2020, and 2021, best FX and best equity research. You know, so we work with many of the major financial institutions, helping them forecast where the markets are heading. And we have a special partnership with IC Markets, where we're bringing you guys the good stuff, the juicy stuff, the stuff that take your trading to the next level. Okay, now how I always begin the analysis, right? Let me see if I have it here. Is it here? Nope. Is it here? Give me a second. I think it's, yep. The Forex, I'm going to bring it up here. So I always come here, right? So I always have the Forex Factory, right? Near to load version that blocks out all the funny ads by the side. Yeah, but you will notice that the first 2 days, right? Mondays and Tuesdays, right? If you don't see any rate events over there, you know that there is no big news events that are happening, right? So it's going to be a relatively slow first 2 days, right? Monday is a bank holiday, right? Bank holiday for I think a few countries, right? So you notice that there's very few. There isn't much movement. Tuesday, nothing much too, right? We want to focus on Wednesday, right? Wednesday, this CPI, right? Same thing, inflation, right? We want to keep a lookout for it. All right. We want to keep a lookout for it. Thursday, right? We got the BOE monetary policy reports, right? And something that I wanted to highlight to you guys, right? I mean, a lot of the stuff that you see over here, right? It's important to know that the news events are coming. How it's going to affect the markets, right? A lot of it's hard unless you use econometrics to be able to forecast what the actual value is going to be, right? Instead, a lot of it can be determined by stuff like the monetary policy summary, government barely speaks, right? The BOE monetary policy report, right? These are things that you find, you get very interesting insights on. So I prepared a little slide for you guys over here, right? And that is, a few key things to note is that last week, right, a quick recap for you guys is that the RBA, you know, the Fed and the ECB all announced 25 basis points rate hikes in their recent meetings, right? So of course, the RBA surprised markets with rate hikes, you know, and the key thing to take note of is that the Fed language in its announcement suggested a possible pause at the next meeting, right? I mean, the ECB is likely to continue its policy firming schedule, but this is the key thing here, right? The Fed's language, right? So you notice that a lot of it's, you need to actually look at the, it's not just the pure numbers, but you need to read into what they're saying, right? So the Fed, you know, is suggesting that it's not possibly going to stop the rate hikes, right? Non-farm payroll data last week on Friday was very strong, right? But already the markets are pricing in the possibility of a pause for the next FOMC meeting, right? So you can notice that, you know, non-farm payroll numbers are very good. USD is supposed to strengthen, but if the Feds are not going to increase interest rate anymore, the USD is going to weaken. So, you know, you kind of get a lot of indecision there, right? This week, the two things that we want to look for, US inflation data, you know, and BOE's rate decision and key events. You know, these are the key events to watch out for this week. Okay, I put it in a short summary for you guys because there isn't really that much to look at this week, right? As you can see over here, right? You want to look for the inflation numbers, as you can see. I mean, you have the unemployment claims too, right? The inflation numbers are equally important. And, of course, let's go to the technicals, right? I'm just going to close this part over here, pull up the questions that you guys have, right? Marondera, nice to see you. Right, how about gold? Right, let's take a look at gold and what we're going to expect. Okay, so what I like to do is that every week, you know, you can come in here, watch the forecast for the previous week and what we expect. Right, I think a couple of I usually like to cover it sequentially. I will jump around a little bit later, right? But the key things that I look out for is definitely stuff like the DXY. Right, let me just go into a trading view over here. So for example, DXY. So we are calling, right, if I'm not wrong, for DXY. You can see last week, right, what was it? Last week we were calling for the support. Let me just make it a little bit bigger. We're calling for support at the 100.90 level, right? Let me just, yep, the 100.90, 100.87. This was the two levels we forecasted that price would kind of fluctuate in between. Since then, right, price actually did, where's the last week? Yeah, price continued to fluctuate around that level, right? As you can see over here, right? I think it was the start of the week about here. It shot up, it went down, right? Exactly. Reacted very nicely off our resistance, reacted very nicely off our support, right? This week, right? This week, DXY will be the key thing that forms the majority of our what I say the USD strength, right? I'm looking at it over here, and what I like is that if you go into the 4-hour chart, right? When you go into the 4-hour chart, you actually notice, all right? I'm going to show you something a little bit more advanced over here, okay? The previous bounce that occurred, right? The previous bounce that occurred was just about over here, okay? Right, so the stochastic, right, at the RSI at the 34 level, right, seeing the same little bounce over here, okay? So we could, we could potentially see a nice little bounce from here, right? So this is what I'm seeing on the stochastic, right? On the 1-day time frame, it still remains the key support level, right? This level, we've seen a bounce before, we've seen a bounce, it's likely to see another bounce, okay? Try the Ichimoku chart, nothing much to look at over here, right? So we should continue to see a bounce on the XY, okay? Now, let's look at, I think Eurodollar and Eurodollar, we are forecasting a resistance around this area, right? Before it dropped. I think Eurodollar was only okay, right? Yeah, we are forecasting resistance around this area. It actually reversed quite a bit recently. Then it's continued to test that level over there, right? So I'm guessing that there is it's a nice little bit of a bearish divergence that we're seeing over there, right? We should see a reversal down to the first support. Ahmed, a little bit late, but it's okay. Didn't miss much, right? Watson, nice you tuning in from South Africa, right? So yeah, this is what we're expecting for Eurodollar. We're expecting price to at least drop a bit towards the first support. Okay, this little bit of resistance over here, my suspicion is that Eurodollar and pound dollar, right? There's this very, very important level that we need to take note on pound dollar. Okay, I'm going to highlight it here for you guys. Pound dollar, if you look all the way back to here, you go into the weekly chart, you zoom in, this resistance level, okay? Take a look at this resistance level. Right, this is a big resistance level. It lines up exactly with the 61.8 retracement level. Okay, this lines up very nicely with a very nice 61.8 retracement that goes all the way down. Okay, let me see if there's any other levels that line up there. Because I suspect, right, I suspect that price might just inch up that little bit more. Nope, it's not here. Not really. It's 145 level over there, right? I suspect price might just inch up that little bit more towards this resistance level before it reverses. Okay, so on the 1-day time frame, what I'm potentially seeing is that price, might just inch up that little bit, touch this level, and then reverse from there. Okay, this is the big first resistance I'm looking at. All right, risk level that we're looking at right now is that price is testing the 127% Fibonacci extension, right? This is the nice little Nike tick that I always tell you guys about, right? We're seeing a nice little Nike tick over here. Price is testing. It could come down. It usually comes down a test before it comes up again, okay? It is a very characteristic of the Nike tick kind of formation where price reacts off the 127 and comes back down to test, to revisit the 100%, right? And from there, kind of bounce up towards the first resistance, right? So this Nike tick 127% is my first intermediate resistance, okay? Right, you guys should be pretty familiar with this little Nike tick formation. Pound yen, okay, I'll look at it in a bit, right? Since we looked at pound dollar, we can just jump over to pound yen. What did we forecast for pound yen last week? So pound yen, we forecasted that it would touch the 172, drop down to the main support level at 169, I think, right, before bouncing up. I think it went well. There we go. So we forecasted that price would react off the 172, drop down to the 168 level before bouncing up. right, guys? As you can see over here, right, I'm not kidding. This is last week, 30th of April, right? We forecasted reversal from the 172, drop down to the 168, 169, and bounce up, right? So it worked out exactly as we forecasted. Nice reaction, drop down, test, and it's bouncing up, right? Another good call. It's not always like this, all right? It's not always like this. But what I'm forecasting is that, you know, what it looks like it, right, is that price might bounce, right? I'm just looking at the 4-hour chart, right? There's actually a nice little bit of ascending support over here, right? That could kind of suggest that price might continue to rise a little bit more, right? If you get it cut a bit. I wonder, is there a channel? There might be some sort of a channel, right? Yep, you can see some sort of a channel over here, right? Some sort of bullish, you know, a little bit of bullish cloud over here, right? So at least on the short term, you know, we should continue to see it like kind of going up a little bit more towards the 172 level. Okay, yeah, so I do think it might kind of inch up towards the 172 level on the shorter of a pound yen, right? Very good call we had last week, right? If you found this useful, please help me just leave a thumbs up on this video, right? IC Markets uses it to kind of help us spread the YouTube algorithm likes it, you know, so it helps us grow the community of people who are watching this video. All right. Now, okay, I already see request for dollar yen, US 30, right? Aussie dollar, Henry, right? Good stuff, man, right? Dollar yen, right? Dollar is a little bit tricky. I think we were looking dollar yen on the shorter term time frame. Looks like it's testing that little bit of a support. Okay, looks like it's testing a little bit of a support. I do see a nice resistance across here. All right, pretty decent resistance. But wow, dollar yen is okay. If DXY is expecting price to kind of drop a bit, you know, dollar yen could be bouncing. We could expect a little bit of a bounce on dollar yen, right? Wow, this is tough, man. Support level. This would be my first support level. Very nice price movements around here. This would be my first resistance level, right? First resistance, right? So I kind of call it upside downside confirmation, right? I think this level needs, okay, next big resistance definitely all the way up here, right? This is without a doubt, right? The big resistance, right? I would probably see prices being squeezed in here for the next 2 days, Mondays and Tuesdays, right? Not much movement, but if it breaks this level, you know, it can trigger the move up to here, right? But you will notice that the ascending support line will continue to squeeze it, right? You squeeze it against this major resistance over here, all right? You squeeze it against this major resistance, and if it breaks, you know, you can trigger the move up there. Okay, this would probably be what I'm looking for that. All right, let's jump to Aussie dollar. All right, Aussie dollar, I think we are waiting for price to reach here. It has not reached this level yet. Right, Aussie dollar is a little bit more straightforward. You will notice that there is a long-term descending resistance line. I think on the weekly time frame, you should be able to see it. Right, nice little bit of descending resistance. Right, price has been reacting off these levels multiple times. Right. The Ichimoku cloud, the bearish Ichimoku cloud, as you can see over here, continues to hold price down quite nicely. Okay, now in terms of what we can expect for the week, right, definitely key first resistance over here. This level lines up with a, if I'm not wrong, it's about 50% Fibonacci retracement over here, right? So we what could happen is that price will continue to inch up towards here, and we look to play the reversal from here. All right, we look to play the reversal from here. This is a very nice resistance level I really like, right? But if you're trying to look at a trade right now, you know, there isn't a clear level, This is the clear level. It's a big overlap. It's a big 50% retracement. It is the limit of the Ichimoku cloud, as you can see over here. And there's that nice little bit of bearish momentum that continues to push it down from the descending trend line. Right? How banks trade? There are many different ways that banks trade, right? They have the treasury departments, they have the prop traders, right? The flow traders. There are many different ways that they trade. But today we're just discussing how the retail traders like us trade. Okay, US 30. US 30 was, I mean, it's US 30. The Dow Jones 30. Last week we forecasted a reversal of 34267 to drop down to 33617, right? As you can see, right, price reversed from this level and it dropped down. So we actually got it right, perfect, right? So you can see reversal 34267 for the price to go down. Price did exactly touch the 34267 level, right? Touch this level and it reversed very nicely, right? So yeah, you know, it's another good call, I guess, right? I think it's a decent call, and price has reversed, right? It's JP Morgan. Euro, okay, I can see request for Euro Pound coming through. All right, okay, but what can we expect? What can we expect from US 30 now, right? Rohan, nice to see you tune in, man. A little bit tricky on what we can expect from US 30 though. Still very choppy. Ah man, still very choppy. This remains my major support, right? This remains my first support. Sorry, this remains my first support. This remains a key resistance level. This remains second resistance. Okay, those are clear. Now, what is not clear is what in the world are we gonna do? Okay, if price continues to hold below this, right, we could see a move down to here, right? We could see a move down. I have a slight bearish, I know, like this, definitely only if price closes above this can it trigger a move up, right? Otherwise, you know, we could see, you know, price continue to go down here. I'm watching this level over here, this nice little overlap. I love this overlap. I love this level. I have a feeling that price is going to come down to here, but you first need to watch out for this level over here to be broken. All right, okay, I'll do gold in a bit. All right, I'll do gold in a bit. I do need to be sequential. I know that we're looking at pound dollar, right? Pound dollar, okay, pound dollar, I did say that price might drop here first before coming up and reversing, okay? Because the 127 Fibonacci extension is a key level for us to look at. Okay, so very decent chance that, you know, price might drop down there. Okay, now let's take a look at gold. I think what we forecasted for gold, I think what I forecasted for gold was that, you know, this was the intermediate level, right? It could bounce up to there, to the first resistance at 2044, right? I think price did bounce up quite nicely to the first resistance here at 2044. And just like how we highlighted the resistance, right? We highlighted that this would be a resistance just nicely, you know, price touched the level and it reversed. Okay, so now what can we expect from gold? Okay, okay, I'll take a look at oil in a bit. Nice little bit of resistance up here. Yep, I'm looking at gold now, right? It's a bit tough. Yeah, this is a little bit tough. Okay, what could happen? What could happen, guys? What I noticed, right? What I noticed is that there is actually this thing called, price is rising up over here, right? Price is rising up, but RSI has been decreasing. Okay, so this is what we call bearish divergence. Okay, bearish divergence, because price is going higher, 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 right? And RSI is going lower, lower, lower. So this is extended bearish divergence, where it goes beyond 1, right? It goes from 1 to 3 points, same as here, 1, 2, and 3 points, right? So what is likely to happen is that price could break this level, and we could see a drop down back to this support level at 1958, right? That is what I suspect might be happening, right? At least for the next week. Okay, now I wouldn't really call it a triple top, right? Triple top requires it to be close to the same height, right? For the same height. In this case, right, is rising and rising and rising, right? So it's not really that much of a triple top, right? It's a topish pattern for sure, right? But what to me is more important is the bearish divergence, right? Bearish divergence, it breaking the intermediate support level over here should could be enough to trigger the move down to 1958. If 1958 is broken, if 1958 is broken, probably can play the move down to here, right? If 1958 is broken, okay? So keep a watch out for this, right? I do think that price might break this level down to here, and if it does break this level, could see a further move down to here. Okay, now, all right, so let's take a look at oil, right? Oil, what did you forecast for oil last week? So oil, we forecasted that you break the 72.21 and drop to 64.61. Since then, it has broken this 72.21 and it has dropped down to our 64.61, and it has bounced from there, right? So as you can see, we forecasted for price to come down to 64.61, which is our major support, and it has done that exactly, right? Price has broke the resistance, come down to the support. Yeah, it's been a pretty good week, I guess, of us getting the levels right. Remember to leave good reviews for me, right? So that, the guys, anyone watching knows that, yeah, we do put in a lot of effort to getting the forecast right. Yeah, and hopefully it benefits you guys, all right? So what do we think might happen? Yeah, this would probably be the item. But the key thing that you need to watch out for here is that there is price is making a lower low, right? And very importantly, RSI is making a higher low. Now, important thing to take note of over here is that I'm going to draw this thing and I'm going to teach you guys the concept of the concept of hidden support and the true RSI. Okay, so this is what I mean, right? Every time price tends to bounce. Okay, so we used to use this at the institutional research firm. At the institutional research firm, all right? So what you notice is that each time price bounces, right? Each time price bounces, it actually occurs close to this level over here, right? Close to this level over here. The big bounces that happen, right? We do notice that it's pretty close to there, right? And what looks like is happening is that price is right above there again. So I'm just going to draw this level, right? I'm just going to draw this for you. I can see a bounce that happened here, a bounce that happened here, a bounce that happened, a bounce that happened, bounce that happened here, another bounce, another bounce, another bounce, right? Another bounce, another bounce. Looks like price is just at a level and price is testing level. So the hidden level, the true RSI level is actually 29.18%. Not the usual 2080 or 2575, right? It's actually 29.18. So what is nice is that it is not only testing that, but there's bullish divergence also, right? So there's a pretty decent chance that we could be seeing, right? We could be seeing price kind of rise from here towards the second resistance, but it needs to close above this level to trigger the move up, right? Yeah, it needs to close above this level to trigger the move up to our second resistance. Meaning it needs to break the 70.50 level first, right? All right, I'll take a look at dollar CAD in a bit. Okay, I can suggest. I can't really suggest 4 pairs to trade actually, right? But I would. I usually look out more for the majors, right? More for the majors. Commodities, I look for WTI, crude oil and gold, right? And then of course the indices. I look at the major ones. I look at DAX, right? S&P, right? I look at NASDAQ, right? I look at Dow. So those are the few main ones I look at, right? More people look at it, it's easier to trade it. More information, you can also find more information on it, when more people trade it. Okay, now we're going to take a look at dollar CAD. All right, dollar CAD. What did we forecast last week? Man, this is stressful, man. Every time I need to look at it. All right, dollar CAD, we had this thing called downside confirmation. That means once price breaks this downside confirmation, it should trigger the move down to first support. Right, we hadn't see that, price broke this downside confirmation. Yeah, price was testing it, right, and it broke the downside confirmation, and you saw the acceleration down to the first support was very swift. All right, so yeah, this remains our first support. Our forecast was correct once again, right? And what could happen? What could happen? Let me just see what could happen. All right, let me just take a look on the weekly time frame. Am I missing out anything? I do notice. Okay, ascending support, sure, but price is a little bit far away, right? Nice little bit of Ichimoku cloud support over there, right? In fact, there might be this level as a key level of support that overlaps most of the prices. And the next one will be down here. So you can see price responding very nicely to this level, very nicely, very nicely. You got reaction, 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 all right? So a lot of nice things over here, right? A lot of nice reactions over here. So what I think might happen, right? What I think might happen is that price might break this first support, right? I'm just gonna put it over here. Price might break this first support. And if it breaks this first support, right? If it breaks this first support over here, we can see the move down towards the second support, all right? Just take note that there's a ascending support line over here, which is keeping a little bit of bullish momentum, all right? But yeah, what I'll be watching out for, right? I can't exactly call a move down to here, right? But what I can call is that if it breaks this first support, this very, very big level, you can see a drop, right? Potentially to the 1.2971 level. Right, we got a question from SVJ, right? Easier to trade less pairs. Technically, it's easier to trade because you're focusing and you know the characteristics of one currency pair, one instrument. But at the same time, I don't think it's that effective, right? Because the market moves in correlation, right? Like euro dollar goes down, dollar franc goes up, DXY goes up, right? And how it affects dollar yen, Aussie dollar and Kiwi dollar are positively correlated. They tend to move in the same direction, right? Dollar CAD has a little bit of correlation with oil, right? So it's all of it kind of moves in tandem with each other. So looking at just one instrument might not be that good, but looking at a basket of instruments that move very closely together, right, will be a much better idea for you. Okay. All right. So let's look at NASDAQ then, right? NASDAQ, we were forecasting for it to, I think, last week. Yeah, we drew the ascending support. We draw a main support at 12875. We says that it needs to break the 13210 level, right? Before it bounces. Kelvin, no worries. You can watch the replay, right? But yeah, we're still taking requests, right? So what is nice, right? What is nice is that we were able to forecast quite nicely. You notice how price actually dropped reversed from our intermediate resistance. Price reversed from our intermediate resistance, touch our support and our ascending support line and bounce up, right? You can see price was just at the 13210. It reversed and it bounced up. So we got the levels correct. What might be happening, right? This remains a key support level. Once it breaks this intermediate resistance, right, which actually stretches back all the way to here. Once it breaks this level, right, we could, or rather we should, hopefully, see price accelerate up towards this level. Now take note that if price were to break the ascending support and break this level, right, the next level, that it can drop down to is this, okay? All right, so if it breaks that, right, if it breaks this level and the ascending support, you can watch for price to drop all the way down to here, right? I do think that might happen, right? The reason why it might happen is because there's a nice fair bit of bearish divergence all the way from here, right? So we've seen extended bearish divergence that stretches all the way back to February. Right, so if the bearish divergence does play out, right, what could happen is that we should see price break this ascending support, break this overlap, and make a push down, right, to the second support level. All right, so keep a lookout for this very, very important level. Okay. Now, all right, guys. I think we had a few other requests last week. Was it CAD yen? I think CAD yen was one of it. CAD yen. CAD yen's another one that worked out very nicely, right? So I think CAD yen, we were forecasting for price to reverse off the 101.20 back to the support, right? We can see that price reverse off the 101.20 and it reversed back down to our support level where it bounced from. So I always like to emphasize to you guys that if you highlight the correct support level, right? If you know how to highlight the correct take profit level, what is likely to happen is that price would reverse, touch your take profit, and then go in the other direction. All right. So that means you're highlighting the correct magnetic levels. You're highlighting the correct support and resistance levels when it comes to trading. Okay. Okay. Now, can you guys please send in your request for me to look at any other instruments? I forgot my water, so I'm just going to grab my water real quick and be right back. All right. Please feel free to send in your requests. All right, let's take a look at Ethereum, right? Got a request from Norbert on Ethereum. What did we forecast last week? So we forecasted for Ethereum to bounce above the 1846 level, right? It has bounced above the 1846 level, but then it reversed a bit, all right? Right, you can see it did bounce from that level a bit. So what what I see happening, right? What I see happening with Ethereum is that you need to go to the weekly time frame, right, to be able to identify this resistance level over here, which is why price is not able, right, to break beyond this level. Okay, this resistance level lines up with a very nice 38% retracement, I think. No, was it 50%? Oh, slightly higher than the 50%, right? You pick it at the level here, 50% retracement, and if I'm not wrong, you got 38% retracement that comes back down to here. Right, 38 and 50, right? Maybe not too much of 38, right? Let's just do 50, right? Very nice little resistance that we're seeing over here. So we then zoom into the lower time frame and we agree that this is a big resistance level. In terms of the support levels for Ethereum, major support remains over here. I do kind of like this level over here, right? It's not as clean, right? But it is decently clean, right? Oh, Ethereum is hard, man. I have no idea where Ethereum is heading. Bullish Ichimoku cloud continue to suggest that there's bullish momentum, right? So yeah, I think for Bitcoin, no, for Ethereum, we can continue to see the push up to a 2154 level. Okay. All right. No. So Ahmad, can we use pivot points as TPs? Yes, you can. Right. So pivot points are I think you call it like S1, S2, S3. Support 1, support 2, support 3, resistance 1, 2, 3, right? You can use them as your take profits because price tend to be attracted to those levels, right? So yeah, I will consider that. Let me see if I missed out anything, right? We got euro dollar, we got pound dollar, right? Which will potentially be reversing. I want to make sure I cover everything for you guys. Dollar franc, we're expecting a bounce on dollar franc. Very nice bullish divergence that we're seeing over here, right? So we could be seeing a nice little bounce on dollar franc. Nice little bounce on dollar franc. Nice little support that we're seeing over here, right? Dollar yen. Dollar yen, it requires this level to be broken to trigger the move up, right? So just making sure I got everything for you guys, right? So watching for this level. Once it breaks this level, you could see a potential move up, right? Aussie dollar, still waiting for the first resistance level, right? Still waiting for price to approach the first resistance level. Kiwi dollar, nothing much, right? I can't really do much with Kiwi dollar. Dollar CAD, we covered it, waiting for first support to be broken, trigger move down. WTI, we're expecting a bounce for price to come out towards 82.37. Gold, if it breaks the 2000 level, we should see it drop to 1958, and if it breaks 1958, right, we should see a bigger fall, right? If it breaks this level, we should see a bigger fall down to 1885, sorry, right? Then we're taking a quick look at Dow Jones. No idea what's going to happen, right? US 500, S&P still requires upside confirmation over here before price goes up, right? DAX, for those of you guys who are looking, nope, not much movement on DAX. All right, a little bit hard to call anything that's happening on DAX anyway. Okay, but yeah, guys, I hope you found today's session useful. We covered all the majors. We covered, I think we even covered NASDAQ, right? I hope you found this session useful, right? Keep a lookout for divergence, right? It's a big bunch of divergence that we're seeing here and there, right? So they are very good indicators of major reversals that are looking to happen. Got a request for silver. I don't have silver over here, but I'm just going to load it for you. Oh wow, this is freaking messy. All right, Silver, so the tricky thing is you could suggest it's like this, you could suggest it's like this, right? That's the thing. That's why I hate trend lines, right? It's too subjective. Silver, I do see a major support over here, major support over there. Probably intermediate resistance over here. If it breaks that, definitely climbing higher to this level over here, which is a pretty decent overlap resistance, I guess. As you can see, right, it's been a while, right? This is a big, nice overlap resistance. Right, this would be the next big key support level that, if broken, could trigger the move down. How low can it go? Yeah, it could move all the way down to 22.54. All right. Okay. Ahmed, I'm not suggesting any pairs. I don't think I'm allowed to suggest any pairs, but the nicer ones that I'm looking at, dollar franc looks pretty nice for this little bounce. I love the bullish divergence that we're seeing, right? WTI, I love how everything's lining up very nicely. If it managed to close nicely above the first resistance over here, we should see price go up quite nicely. Nice little bit of bullish divergence there too. Gold, I'm waiting for this level to be broken, the 2000. If it breaks it, you know, I'm personally, I'm going to look for the 1958 as a key level that it drops down to. Right, if it breaks that, a further drop down to 1885. Okay, right. So I like gold. It's not that clear. The Dow Jones, right? DAX is not that clear. S&P 500 needs this upside confirmation for it to work. Right, NASDAQ, you know, I think if it breaks this level, this ascending support, this first support, and this bearish divergence, if it breaks this level, you know, I would really like the move down to 12243. Okay, all right, and all right, guys, I hope you found today's session useful. Right, if you have found it useful, help me leave a thumbs up. Right, help me ping the IC market support chat, let them know that you found today's session useful. Okay, it really means the world to me, right? Just let me, yeah, how do I go into this mini player? Right, it means the world to me. You know, if you guys found this session useful, how do I make it slightly smaller? Default view, yeah. We got a Survey Monkey here that I'm going to copy a link address, right? If you found, yeah, if oh shit, sorry. Let me just click on this Survey Monkey link, right? If you can, right? Yes, I agree. The trend line is way too subjective on this, right? On silver, right? Which is why I didn't put it, right? If I did put it, right, the trend line like that, it'd be way too subjective. I have no idea what we can expect on the trend line here, right? So I'm not going to use the trend line. In fact, I'm going to just use the major levels. So yeah, if it breaks this level, you can see it go up to here. Breaks the first support, you can see it drop down to second support over here. I really love the second support. If you look at it very closely, it's a key level that stretches very, very far back, right, all the way to even 2020. Okay, that's it for me, guys. If you found this session useful, please help me leave some reviews on SurveyMonkey, right? We're always reviewing and seeing how we can improve, right? If you have requests, send them through, especially in SurveyMonkey, because I go through it with the IC Markets marketing team to decide what we're going to cover next, and of course the feedback that you guys have for me. All right, stay safe, trade safe, peace out, guys. It was nice having you guys, right? I'll catch you guys again next week. Yeah, definitely next week. Tune in about 12 hours for a live analysis session with Cassandra. All right, thank you very much, guys. Stay safe, trade safe, peace out.